Hello, hello. Welcome to She Boss Talk. I am Shantae Arati. I'm coming on today to provide an explainer video to review the PPP appeals process. So for those of you all that have been or may have been denied for PPP or for the PPP forgiveness, this video is for you. So do come on in. Let me know who you are, where you're hailing from, what your business is. Definitely want to know all you small businesses out there. If you haven't already, do make sure as you're coming on to hit that love button, right? Give us a thumbs up if you're viewing in from YouTube. That helps this video get seen. It helps the platforms to recommend our videos because so many entrepreneurs and small business owners are still in the process of getting forgiveness. And if you or they, someone you know, encounters this challenge with not getting full forgiveness, then you need to know what steps to take. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So do also share out this video, tag anyone that you need to tag in this video as well. We thank you so much for our continued supporters. Also, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're almost at our next milestone of 20,000. We appreciate you guys so much for that. Please feel free to drop any questions that you have in the comments. I'll try to answer some while I'm on air. If I don't get to them all, I will always follow up after the broadcast to answer any questions that you all may have. There's still millions of business owners going through the forgiveness process. Some have not even started yet. Okay, so we want to make sure that you get started, and then also when you go through the process that you also get approved. So that your loan that you took out as a borrower then becomes a grant, meaning that you're free and clear from having to pay back that loan. That's what we all want to see with this forgivable loan. That's what made it so popular. The number one most popular program that came out of the CARES Act that provided stimulus money to entrepreneurs and small business owners. So again, we're going to be talking about the appeal decision of the appeal process, and I'm going to go through the steps and let you know how you qualify for an appeal, who you're going to be filing the appeal with if you need to go through this process. So let's just take a step back just to let you know that in June, the SBA filed a final rule. And this really outlined the process for appeals to make it more clear. They also made another update, which I mentioned before regarding appeals, that if you are one that goes through the appeal process, the SBA will not start, you would not have to start paying back your loan until the process has come to completion. So they updated that in August of 2020. With the SBA. So the appeals, and this is under the appeals, SBA Loan Review Decisions under the PPP, establishing the guidelines for appeals of the PPP loans and forgiveness of those loans. So want to go through what types of appeals are covered under this interim final rule. So this is really important to know if you are in this category of borrowers. Now, this is an interim final rule that was established under the process of 13 CFR Part 134 for appealing to the SBA Office of Hearings and Appeals. That is the office that you would be appealing to when the SBA has reviewed your PPP loan and made an official written decision that the borrower can either or was either ineligible for the PPP loan, was ineligible for the loan amount received, or used the proceeds for unauthorized uses. So we talked about that before. So they may determine that you were ineligible first, period, for the funds, or you use the funds for what they were not intended. So I said before, there are specific eligible expenses that you must use the money on. There are payroll related expenses. 60% must go of the funds must go towards payroll. The other 40% must go to outlined business expenses, which we've covered in other videos. So once you submit your application, if that's determined that you did not meet that, they could come back with a decision that you were denied forgiveness, or you were only given partial forgiveness. Okay, you could be number three. You could be ineligible for PPP forgiveness in the amount determined by the lender in its full or partial amount issued by the SBA, except for deductions of the economic injury disaster advance. Or number four, you are ineligible for PPP forgiveness in any amount when the lender has issued a full denial decision of the SBA. So I want to clarify that this appeals process is for the SBA's decision. This is not an appeal of the of your lender's decision. So I explained that there's two steps to the process. So you must first submit to the lender. They do that first level of review and approval to submit then to the SBA. So that's for your loan, that's for the forgiveness. It works the same way. And so the SBA is the final approver. So you cannot appeal your lender's decision, but you can request a review from the SBA of your lender's decision. So that's a separate thing. That's a separate process. You can request the SBA review the lender's decision. So if you got denied at the lender level, you can do that. So I'll go through the timelines and all that in just a minute. But this is once the SBA has reviewed it and they come back with a written final determination, that is when you can appeal, and that's when the time really starts ticking. Okay, so I just want to make sure you all understand that. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. So the PPP borrower can request a review of the lender's decision to deny the borrower loan forgiveness in full, but that request for review by the SBA and not an Office of Appeal Hearings and appeal. Who can appeal? Only the borrower of the loan has standing to appeal with the SBA's decision. The rules say that the individual owner of the borrower and lenders do not. So only the owner of the loan. So think about this if you have a partnership, right? So we know companies that have partnerships, you may have equal ownership in the partnership or different levels of ownership in the partnership. You want to make sure that whoever is the borrower of the loan, that is who can actually file an appeal. So when must you these appeals be filed? So the rule states that petitions must be filed within 30 calendar days after the earlier of the appellant's receipt of the final SBA loan review decision. So that's why it's important to know when you received and make sure that you're maintaining those documents and the dates and tracking those days. So you don't want to delay the time that you're going to be filing this appeal. Also, notification by the lender of the final appeal loan review decision. So you have 30 calendar days in which to file this appeal on behalf of your business. So what must be included in your appeal? So there's different things that you're going to need when you file the appeal. So the appeal petition must include, as listed in the IFR, the basis of the of OHA's jurisdiction, including but not limited to evidence that the appeal is timely. That is timely in accordance with the CFR 13 CFR section 134.1204. You need to have a copy of this SBA loan review decision. So I said, maintain your documents. That is being appealed, or a description of that decision if a copy is unavailable. So really, there should never be a time that there's not a copy available unless there was some issue that they did not provide you the decision, but by law, they have to submit to you a written decision. Okay. So I don't anticipate that you will have that issue where you don't have a copy. And number three, a full and specific statement as to why the SBA loan review decision is alleged to be erroneous. So together with all factual information and legal arguments supporting these allegations. So I said, in all of these programs, you have the ability to appeal, but you have to appeal and present facts. and supporting documentation and evidence that supports your position that there was an error made in their decision. So we know that the SBA makes errors, right? I don't know who doesn't, but you have to be able to substantiate your position when you're submitting these appeals. Number 4, the relief that is being sought. So what is the relief that's being sought? So if it was partial forgiveness, maybe you're saying you want to be made whole. You're asking for the full amount. If they deny the entire amount, you're going to be asking again for the full amount. So you have to clearly state what are you asking them to do. Number 5, signed copies of payroll tax filings actually reported to the IRS and state quarterly business and individual employee wage reporting and unemployment insurance tax filings actually reported to the relevant state for the relevant periods of time, if not provided with the PPP loan forgiveness application. So we know sometimes, like with the 3508S, that is the most simplified application for forgiveness, that is not required, especially for the first draw. Okay. So, and they reference those, the forms here, 3508, 3508EZ, are the ones that, those are the higher level ones that do require the documentation or the lender's equivalent or an explanation as to why they are not relevant and not available. Okay. So again, if they're not available, you have to explain why that is. And 6, signed copies of applicable tax returns. So every step of the way, you need to provide your tax return. So that should be something that's regularly available, that's filed away, that's easily accessible to you, because even in the appeals process, even though you provided it before, you will be required to provide your applicable tax returns actually filed with the IRS with the appropriate schedules, right? So they give an example of the 1040, Schedule C, Schedule F. Those are the business income filings. So just make sure of that, because I know some people apply for the program and they actually did not have business income, or their business income is not reflected on their tax returns, right? So either they applied with employment income, which that would disqualify you, or you applied and you do have a business and you did not report your income on the business schedule on your tax return. So you need to be able to show all of these documents are going to help substantiate your position. And then number 7, the name, address, and telephone number, email address, and signature of the appellant or its attorney. So you know you can't have an attorney represent you, although it's not required. So the petition must be generally less than 20 pages, not including any attachment. So I will reference the full final rule in the comments. It is not in the description, but I will add that as well. And this includes the directions of providing a copy of the appeal petition to the Associate General Counsel for litigation and certificates to attach. Okay. So this rule cautions that the appeal petitions that do not include the above components may be dismissed. So you want to make sure that you carefully go through the information, make sure that you have everything that I just mentioned, go through it 2 or 3 times if you need to, have someone a second look. It's always good to have more eyes on it to make sure that you're submitting it, because if one thing is missing, they can and most likely will dismiss the appeal. Or the SBA or judge may move to request additional information. But again, all of that further delays you in getting approved and funded or forgiven for your PPP. And I say funded because there may be some of you, we know the PPP program closed, but it wasn't until July 31st that the SBA actually technically closed or was supposed to finalize processing all of those that were still in the pipeline. So if you are one that received a PPP loan, you recently got funded like in the last few weeks or the last month, please let me know here in the comments. That will be very helpful. Because again, it goes by that 30 calendar days. So what happens if the appeal, after the appeal is made? So If the assigned judge does not dismiss the appeal, he or she will order the SBA to produce administrative record relevant documentation that the SBA consider in making its final decision. So the SBA has to have supporting documentation on their end. This will typically be due within 20 days after the order is issued, and the record will close 45 days from the date that OHA's receipt of the appeal, unless additional time is requested and granted. You as the appellant will receive the administrative record and may object within 10 days of receipt to the absence of any documentation that you feel should be included, or to SBA claims that any documentation in the record are privileged. And then the judges are to make their decisions within 45 days after the close of record, and those decisions become final 30 days after they are served, unless a request for review or reconsideration is filed. Okay? And so we go to who can respond to an appeal position. So only SBA may respond to an appeal to the appeal. And the rule says that and the response should be set forth the relevant facts and legal arguments to the issues presented in the appeal, and the responses must be filed before the record closes unless good cause is shown. SBA must file. So when it says must, that means it is not optional. They must file its response with OHA and serve a copy of the response upon the appellant and upon each of the persons identified in the certificate of service attached to the appellant appeal petition. And the rule says no apply to response will be permitted unless the judge redirects otherwise. Okay? So how would this appeal affect your payment, the timeline? So I already said that in August of 2020, they stated under this IFR that the appeals do not extend the deferment period of the PPP loan. That borrowers will still begin to make payments, but they made a change. So you will not have to make payments while you are going through the process. Okay. So that was in July 28th of 2021 that the SBA announced in a new IFR that it is amending the rule to provide that borrower timely appeal of the final SBA loan review decision will extend the deferment period for the PPP loan until OHA issues a final decision of the appeal. And the revised OHA rule will provide that the borrower should notify the lender of the appeal so that the lender can extend the deferment period. So it is your lender who extends the deferment period, okay? Under the revised OHA rule, the appeal petition must be filed with OHA within 30 calendar days after the appellant receipt of the final SBA loan review decision. And the change applies to PPP appeals filed after the effective date of the new IFR, which is July 28th of 2021. So that date just passed. And to those appeals filed before the effective date of this rule for which the notice and order has been issued. So I will provide the link to the full final rule, and also you will find the website on the SBA's portal with regards to forgiveness, because again, they're still accepting applications. But I do want you to be aware that there are different circumstances that may arise, which may cause you to get denied or not receive your full forgiveness. But I want you to know that there are steps that you can take in order to get that forgiveness. So you do have rights as a borrower, and you do have rights to appeal any decisions that are made. And that's why I always say, continue to appeal, fight for what you know you deserve, but you have to show up to the table with accurate, right, complete and factual information when you're going through the appeal process. That is going to really help you be able to be successful in the process. We don't want to just appeal and not know what we're doing. or not know that, or not be sure that we are in our position that we should have been approved, that there was an error on behalf of the SBA that needs to be overturned. So I would encourage you all to do that. Do let me know also if you have applied for PPP and either was denied forgiveness or you only received partial forgiveness, right? So there are some individuals that know that they will not get full forgiveness. They're not expecting it because there was either some intended or unintended discrepancies early on in the process. So they are already, know that they're going to be paying the money back or have already started paying the money back. So know that you have that option if that is one of the situations that you are in. If there is like a fraud type of situation, you definitely want to pay it back, or they may demand it back earlier than you having to pay it, right? Paying it back over time, right? Just depending on when you took out the loan, which is a maturity date of 2 to 5 years. But again, every situation, every circumstance, every borrower, every application is different. Do know that there are still millions of businesses, entrepreneurs, gig workers who took out a PPP loan that has not requested forgiveness. So if that is you, please do check with your lender. I did a video the day before yesterday on PPP. We have an entire playlist to be able to help you through the process. So please make sure if you receive the loan of $150,000 or less, the process is really super simple and easy. There's over 1,000 lenders who have opted into the SBA Direct PPP Forgiveness Portal. So I know people that have already applied there. I also know business owners that have contacted me and showed me that where they got approved or were asking me to validate that they got approved based on the information they received out of the portal. So you can check to see if your lender is on that list. If you apply with a big bank or well-known fintech company like PayPal or Square, most likely they will not be opting into the portal because they have their systems and processes in place to still make the process easy for you. And so I explained that I had 2 first draw PPPs forgiven. So I'm excited about that. And it was super quick. It was so easy, and the turnaround time was super fast. When they reached out to me to sign documents, I signed them. So again, you just want to make sure that you're not the one that is delaying the process, and you want to make sure it goes as smoothly as possible. So that link is in the description too. So to get your PPPs forgiveness applications in. And if you know other entrepreneurs, just ask them, or business owners, did you get PPP? Were you funded? And let them know, make sure that you request forgiveness, right? And if you need assistance, share this video, share our channel, because we have helped so many thousands of business owners apply for these programs, overcome challenges, appeal denials, and be able to get funded and be able to get forgiven. So we know that business owners, there's a lot out there that still don't know that they can get this forgiven, but we don't want you to be burdened by the fact that you get a notice in the mail that says your payments are due, because that would be shocking and devastating to a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs that really don't understand the process. And people told them that there was just free money out here, or someone told you that forgiveness is automatic. It is not. It is not. Okay. So as much as business owners are going through, we don't want you to have another hit because you did not request forgiveness in time, and now you are stuck with the payments that you cannot afford or manage. Okay. So that is it. That is the appeals process. I'll probably do another live in the upcoming days because new information came out, new reporting information on the forgiveness process. So they stopped reporting on the actual loan because they closed out the loan program, but they issued out their first report. So I will be going through that, a lot of the numbers. So it is very interesting to see those things, to be able to see, who's getting forgiveness where we are, but we know that a lot of those businesses in underserved communities that got the lower funding payments have not requested forgiveness. And so we need to do as much outreach, as much sharing of information as possible to make sure that they get that forgiveness. So thank you so much for tuning in. As always, continue to be the boss with amplified impact. Continue to stay safe and in good health. Have a wonderful day.